Hey, your favorite biker here. Today I want to explain to you why the Democratic Party is probably one of the most intelligent parties that has ever been put together in the United States. You guys are going to love this one. So you ever wonder why they always talk about racism? They always throw the race card. You hear a lot of times conservative commentators and Republicans asking their audiences and asking people, why do they always bring out the race card? Why does everything come down to race with the Democrats? Well, here's why. First, you have to understand what the civil rights movement was. So before we had civil rights in this country, we had the Jim Crow laws, right? So when the two parties, when Democrats and Republicans were fighting over civil rights, you had Democrats from all over the country. You had these guys going to town hall meetings. You had them going to Washington, right? You had them going to school boards and to their mayors and congressmen all over the country and complaining about desegregation. When they started putting, little white kids and little black kids in the same schools together, and the kids started using the same restrooms and the same water fountains. They had a crisis in Little Rock where thousands of Democrats showed up to protest, angry protest, right? So when the Democrats finally realized, and this is where their intelligence came in, when they finally realized that women were always going to be able to vote, that the black people were always going to be able to vote. They weren't going to be able to reverse it and go back to Jim Crow. When they finally understood that, they realized that their party was doomed. They realized that the entire nation had moved past them and that the Democrats had destroyed their party with racism, okay? And so when Gen X was growing up, now these are the kids, right? These are the product of the people that had the civil rights movement. When the Gen X kids started growing up and we got into college, right? Our parents told us the whole time we were growing up, when we would ask them, who do you vote for? They would say, that's rude. They were ashamed of their party. They didn't want to tell you who they voted for. But we figured out most of them were Democrats, right? And when we got to college and we learned that the Democrats fought against civil rights, when we learned in the 80s and 90s, when we were going to college, when we learned that the Democrats didn't want women to vote, that the Democrats didn't want black people to even be able to share the same restaurants or the same water fountains, we looked at our professors and we said, oh my God, my parents are Democrats, right? And our professor says, don't you worry, son. The parties switched, right? The parties switched a long time ago. They never made it make sense, and I never did understand why would a whole bunch of people that fought for civil rights all of a sudden decide, you know what, I'm going to go and align myself with all of those racists over there. Because it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It was a little white lie that all the professors told American students so that we wouldn't go back home and hate our parents. The difference is now your professors want you to go home and hate your parents. That's the difference in the way we grew up. We were constantly lied to. All right. Hey, peace and love. I'm out.